Our text tonight will come from Genesis chapter 27, and we will be looking at verses 30 through 38. If you're able to stand, I do invite you and ask you to stand, not out of respect for me, but out of respect for God's word. I'll be reading from the English Standard Version. Again, Genesis chapter 27, beginning at verse 30. If you have it, let me know by saying amen. And it reads this way. As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, when Jacob had scarcely gone out from the presence of Isaac, his father, Esau, his brother, came in from hunting. He also prepared delicious food and brought it to his father. And he said to his father, "Let my father arise and eat of his son's game, that you may bless me." His father Isaac said to him, Who are you? He answered, "I am your son, your firstborn Esau." Then Isaac trembled very violently and said, "Who was it then that hunted game and brought it to me, and I ate it all before you came, and I have blessed him? Yes, and he shall be blessed." As soon as Esau heard the words of his father, he cried out with an exceedingly great and bitter cry and said to his father, "Bless me, even me also, O my father." But he said, "Your brother came deceitfully, and he has taken away your blessing." Esau said, "Is he not rightly named Jacob? For he has cheated me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he has taken away my blessing." Then he said, "Have you not reserved a blessing for me?" Isaac answered and said to Esau, "Behold, I have made him lord over you, and all his brothers I have given to him for servants, and with grain and wine have sustained him. What then can I do for you, my son?" Esau said to his father, "Have you but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father." And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. For a sermon tonight, is there anything left for me? Is there anything left for me? If there's one thing I know, is that Pastor McClendon is truly a pastor with a message in the mess. And I pray that in some small way, something I will share will be a message that will help in a messy situation. You want to talk about a mess. But to me, this is one of the saddest, most tragic accounts in the Bible. Here we see a family that is in a mess. And we really need to read the chapters that are leading up to this in order to get the full panoramic perspective of the story. But in summary, Isaac and Rebekah are married and they have twins. Before they were even born, the twins were fighting in the womb. Esau, the firstborn, was red and hairy, and Jacob was smooth like butter. Sadly, the parents had their favorites. Isaac liked Esau because he was a man's man. Rebekah, on the other hand, was closer to Jacob. Well, now in our text, Isaac is now an old man. He's blind and near the end of his life. So he planned to give his blessing to Esau, but Rebekah, his wife, plotted against him. While Esau was out hunting food for his father, Jacob pretended to be Esau and stole the blessing that was intended for his brother. When Esau returned, he asked his father for a blessing, and trembling, Isaac said, "I have already blessed your brother Jacob." When he heard these words, Esau made 3 cries, 3 agonizing cries that cut to the heart. First, he said, "Bless me, even me also, O father." He then said, "Have you not reserved a blessing for me?" And then thirdly, he said, "Have you but one blessing?" bless me also, Daddy. This young man, then a hunter, wept like a baby because in his mind and in his heart, he wondered, is there anything left for me? Now, this was really tragic, but it's also tragic, brothers and sisters, when you take inventory of your life and you begin to feel like Esau. You're doing everything in your power to live rightly for God, but you feel like your life is a mess. You believe your family is a mess. Your emotions are a mess. Everybody else is enjoying their children, and you can't wait for yours to move out. Then you see someone who cheated on the exam, they get the A and you get the C minus. Or then you see somebody who lied on their resume, but yet they get the job. All of the relationships that they are involved in are foul and dishonoring to God, but they're the ones that seem to get engaged to the good Christian man or to the good Christian woman while you're sitting at home alone. You're working hard, you're paying your tithes, but you're still struggling while somebody else who barely comes to church, not involved in no ministries, barely listening to what the pastor says, and then they come and tell you God blessed them with a new house. And then you really begin to understand the cry of Esau because you see everybody else prospering and you're wondering, is there anything left for me? Now, as we contemplate the cry of Esau, there are a couple things that we need to deal with. The first thing is we really do need a reality check. Yes, there is something for you, but we need to have a reality check. Esau said, bless me, even me also, my father. Here Esau is comparing himself to Jacob. Esau defines his condition in relationship to Jacob. Thus, he sees Jacob as being blessed, and he sees himself as being unblessed. Thus, he says to his father, bless me also. In other words, bless me in the way that you bless my brother. But the truth is, though, Esau needed a reality check. The reality is Esau was the kind of guy that valued food over his birthright. He was earthy and oriented towards things in the natural. As the firstborn son, he had no appreciation for the inheritance that was going to be apportioned to him. As the firstborn son, Esau would have been entitled to 2/3 of his father's estate, but he didn't care about that. So he sold his birthright to his brother for a bowl of lentil soup. Y'all ever seen lentils? They like smashed out peas that taste like dirt. He sold his birthright to his brother for not a couple bowls, not a trough or a pot, but one bowl of lentil soup. But now Esau wants to be mad at Jacob because Jacob valued the birthright more than he did. Oh, he wants to receive the favor of the father, but he really didn't appreciate the birthright. The reality check for us is this. At times on our life journey, if we're not careful, we will begin to value the things of the world over the things of God, or even over the favor of God. But then we'll get mad when somebody else recognizes God's value for their lives and cultivates the relationship with him. We'll see somebody who is sincerely desiring fellowship with God over stuff from God, and then we end up seeing them getting both. They got the relationship and the stuff because they put God first. And then we'll get mad, won't we? We'll start hating on them, won't we? We'll get mad at the favor that they received, but while they were chasing the master, we were chasing the master degree. While they were chasing the master, we were chasing the mansion, and we were chasing the money. They were seeking his face, and we were seeking his hand. We didn't want him, we wanted the stuff from him. And so now we're mad. The reality is that sometimes we value a pot of soup more than the inheritance from God. Often because we don't realize that God's favor is priceless, so then we treat it like it's worthless. We don't realize it's priceless, and so we treat it like it's worthless. And when we're watching everyone appearing to get blessed, it's natural to compare ourselves, but then wonder, is there anything left for me? Yes, there's something left for you. We got to realize there's something left because our God is the God of more than enough. Esau cried to Isaac, have you but one blessing? Is that all you got? Do you not have enough for me? Daddy, you're telling me that you ran out of blessing. When you see other folks basking in what they claim to be the favor of God or being rewarded or promoted and all you feel is stress and disfavor, you can convince yourself that the windows of heaven have been opened so long that God has obviously run out of a blessing for you. He has poured out so much blessing that all the room been filled somewhere else other than at your house. But brothers and sisters, do not get discouraged. Our God has more than enough blessing for you, more than enough favor for you, more than enough honor and peace and joy and hope to accommodate you and all who would come with him. Don't get discouraged. Jesus says himself in John 14:2, in my Father's house, there are many rooms, plural, not singular, not just one room, but enough for everybody. There are many rooms. If it were not told you so, would I have said, I'm going to prepare a place? If it wasn't room but for one, why would I come back for everybody? In Psalm 50, verse 10, God says, for every beast of the forest is mine, the cattle on 1,000 hills. If God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, surely he can put a steak on your table every now and then. And if you ain't got nowhere to stay, he owns the hills too. Surely he can put a steak on your table every now and then. Our God is a God of more than enough. You don't need to fret, brothers and sisters. You don't need to worry about famine and scarcity in the storehouse of God's good pleasure. See, when the people were hungry in the desolate place and all the teaching had been done, Jesus took 5 loaves and 2 fish and he multiplied it and fed 5,000 men with 12 baskets of fragments left over. Why would you be concerned? Surely if God can do that, he can feed your family of 5 and make sure you got something to take to lunch tomorrow. Surely he can meet that expectation. When the woman in Zarephath was fixing what was for her last supper, she took some flour and a little oil and she blessed the man and the prophet of God, making him a little cake with a little oil and a little flour, and God blessed her such that neither the flour nor the oil ran out. Why in the world would you think that God's blessing had been tapped out when he's the God of more than enough? He's the God of more than enough. When you see other people prospering, don't fret believing that there's nothing left for you. Of course, there's something that's left for you because God's got more than enough. Isaac may only have one blessing, but God got more than enough to take care of you. Isaac like, look, man, that's all I got. I'm sorry, you should have got here at 4:30. You should have got here early, dog. You should have caught the morning train because the midnight train was obviously too late for you. But God is not like Isaac. See, is there anything left for me? Yes. There's something left for you because our God is not like man. Esau asked his father, have you not reserved a blessing for me? Esau's first cry pointed to Isaac's fairness. So he said, bless me also. Bless me like you did my brother. His second cry pointed to Isaac's capacity. Do you have but one blessing? This third cry points to Isaac's character. Esau basically asked his father, have you not reserved or saved a blessing for me? The implication seems to be such that what he's really asking is, are you the kind of father who would fail to secure enough for all his children? Are you the kind of daddy that'll only send one to college and the other two got to go to work? Is it your nature and your disposition and your mindset to cherry pick which child is going to receive your favor? Have you not reserved a blessing for me? When you're going through your valley or your difficult time, you too could feel that God has lost sight of you. And all of a sudden, he begins to play favorites, and he then fails to reserve your blessing. But God is not like man. He's not like Isaac, who only had one good blessing to give. Whoever get here first is going to get it. I'm sorry. He's not like that. He only got one good blessing. See, Isaac gave his deathbed bequest to Jacob, and in their culture, once he gave that bequest, it was binding and could not be undone. Now, to be honest with you, Isaac was being a little shady because he was supposed to call both of his sons into his presence and bless both of them in the presence of the other. But because he was playing favorites, he was going to sneak Esau in behind Jacob's back and bless him. Isn't it good news to know that God ain't shady? Isn't it good to know that you ain't got to be peeping around the corner seeing what God's doing because you might miss something? That whatever it is that he intends for you to have, it's going to fall at your doorstep. The Lord can bless Pastor McClendon, and I ain't got to worry about whether or not he's going to bless me because our God is faithful. He's not like man. He's not like Isaac. Lamentations 3:22 and 23 says, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end, and they are new every morning. Lord, great is your faithfulness. David even testifies, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days, not one day, not just on Thursdays. Lord, what I'm going to do the next 6 days, I can't wait till every day. Goodness, and in the Hebrew, what it really means is goodness and mercy shall literally hunt you down. It ain't just going to follow you. It's going to track you like a wolf. It's going to literally hunt you down all the days of your life. See, God can't be tricked out of blessing you. Isaac can be tricked. He can be hoodwinked, bamboozled, all those kind of words. But God cannot be tricked out of blessing you because he knows the hearts of all, and he knows the plans that he has for you, for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. And the truth is, brothers and sisters, there is nothing you can do to make God stop loving you. Nothing. There's nothing that you can do to stop God from fulfilling his plan in your life. Are you still wondering? Is there anything left for you? The answer is yes, because our God has not forgotten your real need. As I get ready to sit down, some of you have been thinking for a long while about this. You looked at your own personal condition. You've compared the status of others that you know and others that you see, and you've concluded that the reason that everybody else is prospering and you're not is because of your sin. Maybe you're like Esau, where you recognize that you've allowed blessing to slip through your fingers. You didn't have the proper appreciation for what the Father was wanting to do in your life, and now you realize or you feel like it's too late for you. brother or sister, God did not forget about your real need. He didn't forget about your need for salvation. He didn't forget about your need for forgiveness. As our dear brother said earlier, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever should believe in him should not perish, but should have everlasting life. God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. But you've heard that, because I know it's been preached here and it's maybe been preached in other churches. You've heard that, and you've heard songs and hymns that nothing can wash away your sin except the blood of Christ. You've heard it and you believed it, but as you recount the story of Christ, as he's being scourged, he loses blood. When they put a crown of thorns on his head, he loses blood. When they rip off the cloak, he's losing blood. And as he's going up Golgotha's hill, blood is dripping all the way. And they put nails in his hand and in his feet, and they're losing blood. And you're thinking about the story, and you're saying, is there enough blood left for me? Is there enough blood left for me? And the answer is yes, there's enough for you. Every drop that was spilled had you in mind. Every drop that was spilled was designed to wash you whiter than snow. There's enough blood for you. There's enough mercy for you. There's enough love for you, and hope for you, and peace for you. Because God did not forget your real need. You think you need the mansion, but you need the master. He didn't forget your real need. He's not like a man that would overlook you and fail to reserve your seat. He's not like a man because he's the God of more than enough. But here's the reality check. Have you given your heart to Jesus? That's the reality check. Have you given your heart to Jesus? The truth of the matter is, we can look the part, but God knows the truth. We can sing the part, but God knows whether or not y'all really in tune. We can wear all the paraphernalia, but you still don't have no robe in glory. Because you talk about him, I talk about him. The question is, do you know him? Or rather, does he know you? Man may trick you. God would never be deceived. Trust God. Trust God. What an agonizing cry. Is there a blessing for me? The answer is yes.